this is going to be our target marketing. This is going to be the actual potential buyers. You have to have an emotional connection sometimes with these homes. We had a beautiful home in Beverly Hills, over 100 million, and we named it. We did a beautiful sketch drawing of the home for the logo. The Compass branding takes a step back and we let the house shine.
Is there any sneak peeks into the insights we already can get? It is naturally the largest luxury real estate market in the world.
20, 30 million, sometimes go up to 100 million.
Welcome to the JamesEdition Podcast. I'm Eric Finnas Dahlstrom, CEO of JamesEdition, the leading global online marketplace for luxury real estate. Each month, we connect 1.5 million high net worth buyers with a trusted network of real estate agents in over 140 countries. This podcast features stories from major property markets and JamesEdition data, giving you insights into the people and trends shaping global luxury real estate.
Today's guest built his career at the intersection of luxury, brand strategy, and high-value client relationships. After more than a decade shaping global luxury fashion brands, he transitioned into luxury real estate, bringing a deep understanding of buyer behavior, positioning, and demand creation. He now leads the luxury division at Compass, the number one brokerage by sales volume in the US, where he applies a client-centric approach to serving the world's most demanding buyers and sellers. Felipe Hernandez, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me. Honored to be here.
Great to have you here. I'm really looking forward to the discussion. So please tell me a little bit. You are head of luxury at Compass. Please tell me a little bit what that means.
Yes. So I started at Compass in 2016. And as the company was growing, we saw a need to grow our luxury sector and mainly grow how we support our luxury agents, right? So that's when we decided to form the luxury division. And I was the one designated to kick that off. I come from a luxury background. So around 6 years ago, we formed the luxury division at Compass, which I oversee. We're a national team and we work with basically the top luxury agents at Compass across various forms of support. We have a luxury platform where we promote the listings. We work with the pitch presentations and they meet with clients. We work with great partners like JamesEdition to reach more, target profiles for our listings. So it's a very exciting role. I'm very happy.
Very interesting. And in terms of luxury, I actually often get this question at JamesEdition. I don't know if I have a great answer, but it would be interesting to hear your answer. What is the definition of luxury?
So right now, at mathematical definition, we usually look at the top 5% in each market. So because obviously luxury will fluctuate, right? From what is considered luxury in Beverly Hills will be very different from what is considered luxury in Philadelphia or a smaller market. So usually the 5% is what we look at.
Got you. And then you mentioned you work then with the top agents and you, as you mentioned, you support them in different ways. So in terms then of technology, what are the things you provide there? Apart, you mentioned JamesEdition, I appreciate it, but also in terms of other tools that you see. And is there any difference there between luxury and other parts of Compass?
The great thing about Compass is that the tools that we develop are available to everyone. So all our luxury agents have the same access to the tools as the other agents. We have one great tool that we use a lot in luxury, which is called the network tool. And it allows us to use compass.com to find agents that are working in the same price point as you are. So basically, when you have a listing and you want to network with similar clients, you can actually go on compass.com, put in the price point of the property, and it'll tell you what other agents in each market are working in the same kind of like category. So it's easier for our agents to connect with similar agents. Obviously, the biggest advantage to our agents is the luxury platform, which we created to kind of give a little more exposure for the luxury listings. So we have two websites. We have compass.com and then we have luxury at compass.com, which is our luxury website. And that contains that top 5% of our properties. That's the platform that works with JamesEdition or other advertising channels.
Yeah, very interesting. And especially I think there's a great insight there in terms of being able to connect with other agents in the same price point. I don't think actually I've heard that before in any other network, but it makes a lot of sense just to get that kind of similarity. Yeah.
We love JamesEdition. We love working with JamesEdition. You have a very strong following. Your subscribers are very interested in that quality of real estate. So we feel that you're a perfect partner to bring the quality of our homes to life and to the audience that I think you have that's searching for that. So we're very happy.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. We're very happy to work with Compass as well. And then I think in the US, a little bit different perhaps, even though I think it's changing in Europe as well, is that the agent has a very strong brand in the US. The agent is very much the hero of the story, let's say. And how does Compass thinks about this balance between Compass, of course, as a support, as a platform to grow from, and the individual brand of the agent?
Yeah, we are very supportive of this. Our company feels very strongly that we are here to support our agents and grow their business. That's our number one goal. So our marketing team, at the regional level or the national level, is very focused on working with agents to promote their brands. I think clients are very interested in knowing more about our agents. In this age of social media, they're interested in understanding your personality, your likes and dislikes, who are they going to get to work with, how they build trust. And we feel that that's what branding allows our agents to do, right? We want them to be able to communicate to their community or to their clients. These are the services I offer. This is what I believe as an agent. This is what I'm willing to deliver to you. So we feel it's been a winning formula for Compass and our agents, and we will continue to focus strongly on developing those brands. We do beautiful logos for our agents, beautiful custom materials. We help them with their messaging. It's very nice that they can also all have different personalities that, they're not all, identical. They have different target groups. They have different specialties in real estate. They have different things they offer. And I think that's great that they can all bring something different, and we help them bring that to life.
I think that makes so much sense also, especially now when, of course, there's a lot of going on in terms of technology and AI and so on. And I think a lot of the work as an agent probably gets automated, and there's a lot of new tools coming out and help and so. But in the end, then what remains is say the agent will always be there. And then the interesting thing actually to know is more the person behind.
I think when we developed the tools, the main goal was to give our agents more time to interact with their clients.
Yeah.
Not to remove that interaction with clients, but to say, hey, let's create the tools. Let's utilize the tools so that you're not sitting at your computer. You're out there working with clients. You're out there engaging with your community. You're out there building your brand. So I think it's that combination. I love technology for that reason, right? That it doesn't take away. It actually gives you more. It gives you more space to do the things that you're best at. It gives you space and time to do the things that you love doing. And our agents love their clients. Our agents love to engage in their community. So Compass works very hard to give them that time back, right? To say, hey, listen, we're going to create technology that gives you more freedom, that you can do more things from your phone, that we can do more things for you. So I think it's very exciting. It's one of the reasons I came to Compass was this idea of how do you use technology to create better customer service, better engagement with your client.
I think that's a great definition, as you mentioned there, when talking about the role of technology. It's actually not to remove that communication, but actually giving the opportunity for the agent to have even more communication with the client in a more personal way. Yeah.
I think one of the great aspects of Compass, one item that I love about working at Compass, and I mean this very honestly, it's probably one of the most collaborative companies I've ever worked at. So I think we really tap into that characteristic of Compass. And we've seen our agents are very eager to connect with each other, to work across state lines, to kind of collaborate and make sure that they maximize the exposure for their clients. It's a personal characteristic of Compass that I adore. So we kind of utilize it a lot.
Really nice. And it's a big brokerage also. So it's a good sized network, I would assume. Yeah.
But Eric, because it's so big, that connection makes it feel small.
Yeah.
So we're a very large company, but we're very personal. Our agents are very connected with each other. So we kind of maintain a bit of that boutique feel, even though we're very large, which is something that we protect a lot.
Very nice. And you mentioned collaboration and connections through this network, but otherwise you work with properties that are the very, very top end, let's say top 5% of the market. And in the US specifically, I mean, it's a natural market. It's naturally the largest luxury real estate market in the world. So you work with the very, very top end in the world, let's say, of properties.
Yes.
How do you market these homes? Yeah, when we're talking 20, 30 million plus. Yeah.
So yes, the level of luxury in the United States is quite incredible. We work with some amazing, amazing properties that, yes, like you said, surpass 20, 30 million, sometimes go up to 100 million. For us, that's where we work on the strategic approach to marketing the property. And it really focuses on the target analysis.
Yeah.
So that's where we work. The luxury division works very closely with our agents to create custom marketing plans. I'll give you some examples. Sometimes a lot of our properties are waterfronts. So they have yacht docks. So we search for people that own yachts, people that attend boating shows, regattas. So we kind of look at lifestyle characteristics of who might, okay, this is a beautiful home. It has a yacht dock. Someone with a yacht would be interested. Other homes, Eric, I've seen homes that have these enormous garages, 20-car garages. Okay, that makes us think that could be a car collector, right? That's someone who collects cars. So we look at, okay, who are these people? We look at areas like the car show in Pebble Beach, the Concours d'Elegance, or some other car shows.
Yeah, very interesting. And also, I guess if we look at a specific property, slightly different perhaps in terms of positioning, as you mentioned, like, first of all, in a higher price property, there will, by definition, be more interesting features perhaps to highlight. You mentioned it might be sea view or sea front and have a yacht dock, etc., etc. So I guess that also in terms of the actual positioning of the property changes a bit.
Exactly. One thing that I love that we do is we do property branding for these large properties. And we love this. And in some cases, I'll give you some examples. We had a beautiful home in Beverly Hills, over 100 million. And it was a historic home, very well known. And we named it. It's called Alwood. We did a beautiful sketch drawing of the home for the logo. We have a beautiful design team that designed the logo, all the curated materials, this beautiful coffee table book. So we kind of created a whole brand around the home. And this wasn't about Compass. It was really about the house. So we the Compass branding takes a step back and we let the house shine. And we think it's more, appropriate. You have to have an emotional connection sometimes with these homes, right? And we just think giving it that personality elevates the cachet of the property. So we do a lot of these. We launched a private island in South Florida, and it's called Pumpkin Key. So we did, again, the branding for that, and everything is very particular. Obviously, the Florida home was more colorful, more fun. It had a tennis court, so we did, tennis rackets. And, it had a private beach. So we did the beach umbrellas, all branded as if it were like a resort. Right. So
very cool.
So we love that even when we do the design aspect of it, we really focus a lot on elevating the prestige of the brand.
Very cool. And as you said, it's important both to get the targeting correct and then you do that implicitly a bit by choosing the right channels to be in. As you said, you work with specific partners, you work with specific marketing channels. But are there any other ways you qualify that intent? How do you make sure that you don't reach the wrong type of audience?
I think all marketing is good marketing, right?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes there is a brand awareness level that I think is important to our agents. And at that, when you're creating brand awareness for Compass or for the agent, I think it's okay to have the doors a little wider open to a wider group of people, right? Just for people to see. I think although there's a smaller group of buyers, I think there's a large population of people very interested in seeing these beautiful homes. We see a lot of this on our YouTube videos, right? We have a huge traffic on our YouTube channel because I think the general public is very interested in seeing beautiful homes. And I like that, right? I don't think we should be elitist and remove the public from seeing these homes. So I think there's brand awareness marketing that we like doing, where you do like more popular magazines or more wider audience marketing. But then there's always that strategic component that says, okay, this is going to be our target marketing. This is going to be the actual potential buyers. So you will see with Compass that we do both, that we still like having that brand awareness for our agents. PR is a big part of what we do, making sure that our agents receive a lot of PR publicity for their listings and the work they do. So I think that brand awareness comes into play as well. So I think we're okay with the wider audience. We just like to have both channels going.
And it's interesting you mentioned YouTube, because I think that's of course, naturally a massive channel, very visual by definition, and the reach is massive. And how do you think about social in general?
Well, it's interesting. Video has become the best asset we have. Obviously, photography is great, and the printed, we have a beautiful magazine that goes out and beautiful books that are sent out to clients. But video has become, across YouTube and Instagram, Facebook, our strongest channel. That's where we see the most engagement. That's where we see really people engaging with the brand, engaging with the property, and getting more feedback. So video has become a very strong tool for our agents, but also a lot more competitive. The quality of the video is going up. It's costly. Like, our agents are spending a lot of money sometimes to make sure that their video stands out. So quality definitely is a very important factor in the video. You have to be very careful because everyone's doing very good video.
Yeah, no, I was actually going to ask that because I think that we also see that on the site, right? Exactly as you mentioned, the listings that have high quality content, especially when it comes to video, and now more and more nowadays also virtual tours that you actually can walk through. Because most often, as you mentioned, the pool of potential buyers decreases as you go up in price, which means they're more spread out geographically. So you most likely will have a buyer that is either in the US, out of state, or even out of the country. And having that opportunity, of course, to browse a property then online becomes very important in terms of video or walkthroughs. But as you mentioned there, are there any specific trends you see there? Because I also see that like the property videos are reaching new and new heights when it comes to creativity and like how they are produced. Yeah.
So listen, we've seen one trend. I'll give you this anecdote. Whenever we show luxury properties with lots of land attached, or a lot of space and greenery. So usually our properties in Colorado or the mountain resorts perform extremely well. I think there's an aspirational quality. I think people just love to see those homes. There's an aspirational, I want to live that lifestyle. So we do see higher engagement when you see the outdoors, when you see land. I think people are very interested in space, in the outdoors, nature. I think also since COVID, we saw this trend growing, and we still see it strong. Anything with a view, the beautiful sunsets, the beautiful skyline, the beautiful mountain, views are very important.
Yeah.
So I always tell them, make sure you create a video that delivers the wow effect. So when we go through a house and we look at the house, we always make a list. Okay, what are the top 3 things that were a wow? We all walk into a house, might walk into a friend's house. We might be searching in your neighborhood, and we all walk into a house, and then you see the beautiful staircase and you go, oh, wow. Or you go to the kitchen and you say, oh, wow. I always tell them, okay, those moments, write those down. That's what the video has to focus on. Whatever you said, wow, that's exactly what other people will probably say, wow.
The collection now of things you mentioned is really great. So like thinking about, first of all, of course, taking into account the property, the features, what to highlight, and also based on those features, think about what the marketing channels should be, the partners, as you mentioned, whether it's a multiple car garage or you have this yacht dock, etc., to think about where to market it. And then the branding, almost think like create a brand of the property, and then highlight on, of course, creating great content, but highlight then the things that create a wow factor. I think that's a great packaging there for a luxury marketing strategy.
Fashion has been doing this for years, right?
Yeah.
So everyone has always kind of thought it was even funny sometimes that, this one leather handbag is a few $100s and this other leather handbag is $10,000. Why? Because the aspirational quality, the wow factor, right? You did something to it that made it feel more special. The branding, the packaging, the service you receive when you walk in. So that's what we try to recreate in luxury, even how we treat like open houses. Sometimes work with our agents to make sure, okay, how is the client's experience when they walk in to view the home, right? Are they going to feel like they're in a beautiful resort? Are they going to feel like this is something important they're going to see? So really paying attention to every phase of the experience for the client, from when they see the video to when they come to the house. Agents work very hard to make sure the interior design or the staging, the flowers, making sure that everything is immaculate. I think you have to, the same way when you walk into Louis Vuitton, right? The same way you walk into that store and everything's impeccable and how you're treated, we try and do the same.
Yeah, great. Very, very interesting. In terms of international buyers, we touched a little bit on it before, but like, of course, reaching them is perhaps one challenge, but otherwise, what do you hear from the agents in the US when they talk about like the challenges working with international buyers? Are there any specific things there?
We're seeing, right now, not a lot of challenges. We're seeing a lot of interest in the US from abroad. It is becoming a very big audience for us, international.
Yeah.
Honestly, our website is compass.com is fantastic. And when we look at the numbers, we have a huge international following already on our own platform. So I think Compass is well known in the international sector. So we're seeing that a lot of clients are coming directly to Compass from, multitude of countries. So I think the access to the properties is quite impressive right now. I think, Eric, I think the United States does luxury very well, if I'll be honest. When I visit these homes, and I think international clients appreciate that. The quality of the homes, the size of the homes, the wow factor in the United States has been very elevated from the traditional markets like the Hamptons or Beverly Hills or Miami to even newer markets. We're seeing a lot of newer markets that are seeing the quality of the homes really increase. And I think that's very attractive to international buyers. I think when they look at what's happening in US real estate, it's very attractive to them, the quality of home they can purchase versus in other countries. So I think as long as we keep delivering those homes, I think we'll be doing well with the international crowd.
Yeah, no, and I think that, as you mentioned, the usual suspect also that we see on the site is like it's always New York, Los Angeles, Miami, always popular among the international buyers.
Exactly.
And what other?
Florida right now is huge. I think Florida is seeing a huge surge. It always has, but I think lately we're definitely seeing a huge surge in Florida of international buyers. But yes, traditionally it's a lot of the traditional markets: LA, San Francisco, New York.
And Florida, in terms of, because that had a real boom, especially Miami or maybe Florida in general, during and kind of in the aftermath of COVID. Like, is there still a big pull from other markets into Florida still because of the kind of course, climate is one reason, tax is another. But do you still see these movements?
Yeah, we still see the movements. Yes, I think it's a bunch of different reasons from, like you said, political, climate, financial, weather, the international aspect of it. I think, the South American community, for example, feels very comfortable in Miami because of the language. I think, with the Americans, the north of the United States still loves coming down to enjoy the pleasant weather in winter. So I think all the attributes that Florida always had are especially working right now.
Yeah. And I think you are releasing an ultra luxury report. Is it so? Yeah.
Yes. Coming soon in February.
Yeah. Is there any sneak peeks into the insights we already can get?
We're still collecting the data, but I foresee what we've seen recently is a lot of these emerging luxury markets grow a lot.
Yeah.
Right. I think the top markets will continue to be LA, New York, Miami. California is always going to be very strong. Orange County, Silicon Valley. So the big markets in luxury will remain the big markets, but it's very interesting to us, some of these secondary markets that are really growing in prestige, right? I think some luxury clients are looking for something that maybe isn't as popular, right? Or is a little more new or a little more private. So I'm very interested to see what the numbers look like, because the last 2-3 years, that's where we've seen the real growth. So I foresee that that's going to continue happening. There's some markets, Naples, for example, in Florida, has seen huge growth in luxury at an international level. So I'm interested to see which of the emerging markets are going to continue to grow.
Very interesting. Also looking forward. And in February, you said, yeah?
Yes. End of January, probably around February 1st. Yes.
That's great. And what else do you see right now in the luxury market in the US? We touched a little bit upon, of course, the international buyers. We touched upon new emerging markets, which I think is a super interesting insight and kind of finding these new markets that are appearing. But otherwise, in general, in terms of the market, let's say cycles, where are we now? Because there's a lot of international news, also coverage about the American real estate market is fairly, it's low supply, fairly low transaction volumes in total. But I think the luxury market seems to be doing fairly well.
Yes, I'm happy to say that the luxury market is doing quite well. Again, I think the US in particular, because we have good luxury product in real estate, we do have a lot of interest from international. So I think that's going to keep us going. The fact that the quality of the product is still very strong, that when we bring properties to market in luxury, they are best in class. They are top quality. I think our agents are very selective with the properties, and they're very strategic with how they bring properties to market. So they work very closely with their clients to make sure that they are launched as perfectly as possible. Right. So I think as long as we maintain that quality of product and quality of service, I think we'll continue to perform strongly in luxury.
Yeah. And you don't really see any right now, or what do you think is kind of the the driver of the luxury market in the US, as you said, like great supply is one thing. As you said, it's great properties that come to the market and like when they do, they get sold. But otherwise, because I guess interest rates, these things, which are still on a very high level in the US, has a less of an effect maybe on luxury transactions, which are to a large extent cash transactions, or to a larger extent in the mass market at least. And what are the drivers do you see of the market right now?
Exactly. I think that the affluent buyers are working under different financial limitations, right? So I think they have different access to funds so that they can purchase. I think right now we are entering that transfer of wealth that we've been talking about. So I think we're starting to see that happening, right? I think as one generation is passing down the wealth to the next generation, you're seeing a lot of these millennials acquiring wealth. I think that's probably going to be a driver now and moving forward. We're going to see, this new generation coming into the money. That's probably going to see, and that's probably going to affect, Eric, the type of homes they're looking for, the markets they're looking for. What is this generation interested in seeing? We're looking at this now of like, what is this new generation of wealthy buyers interested in? What are the markets? Are they interested in the traditional markets? Are they the ones that are causing this rise in emerging markets, right? Are they interested in a new place, not where their parents or grandparents used to live, but a new place where they can have more space, more outdoors? We see a lot of people, looking at those areas. So I think that transfer of wealth that's starting to happen and will continue to happen for the next few years I think we're going to see a lot of changes through that.
Yeah. And between the markets, do you see any difference there? Because it's quite interesting. First, what you mentioned, maybe the preferences with the new generation will change in principle, yeah. But otherwise, for a while, we had let's say the COVID trend of relocation, perhaps because you could work remotely, and so is that slowing down a bit? This kind of relocation trend, or are people now more looking to add second homes, or like what are the different reasons for people to buy luxury properties today?
Yeah, I think with the affluent, I think again, because we're talking about that luxury sector, they own multiple homes already. So I don't think this is new for them. So I think, yes, the second home market is going to continue to second and third, fourth home market, right? I think they'll still be interested in that vacation home, that like escape home, right? They'll have their primary residence, but we're seeing a lot of them are much more flexible with where they spend their time. So I think just having that ability to like move from one home to another. And I think what we're seeing is that the quality of the home is becoming similar, right? So I think they're maintaining the quality of life as they move from one home to another. So I think finding those homes, and not because, again, like I said, the quality of luxury real estate in the US is quite impressive. They can, right? They can go to Florida and they have the same restaurants that they have in New York. They have the same shopping. So you have the same amenities. So I think their lifestyle doesn't have to change that much, but they can have this transition from one home to another. So as long as we keep providing that to them, I think they'll feel comfortable, finding these new homes that they can spend more time in.
Yeah. But I think that's very interesting. I thought also research that was maybe not necessarily for the very high end of the luxury market, but still luxury homes, that more and more homes coming to market now for sale are also sold furnished. Like people really want this kind of turnkey experience that you add, as you say, maybe a third or fourth home to your portfolio, but that should just be ready to move in more or less. Yeah, exactly. To a larger extent today than before. Yeah,
it's easy. It's an easy transition, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, if we look at in the luxury, you also mentioned you worked with luxury fashion before. So working with high net worth individuals for a long time in the luxury space, what are your insights or experiences that you're taking with you of lifestyle of the high net worth individuals and kind of how they work in terms of decision making?
Listen, I think the biggest similarity, and I talk to my team about this all the time, is quality and details. I think, even in how we approach the marketing and the photography, the video that we were mentioning before. When I used to work in fashion, I remember we used to do these beautiful photo shoots for the product. And we would spend so much time looking at the best angle to show the handbag, right? To show the logo and the stitching and how it draped over the shoulder. And I think affluent customers want to see that, right? They want to see that this is a high quality product. So we try and do the same thing. So even when we tour a home, we always like to make sure, like, what are those details in the home that someone's going to say, okay, That's quality. I like those little details. So I think we try again to mimic, the craftsmanship, the quality, the attention to detail, that this isn't just another home, that this was done with special care and special attention to the luxury aspect. So even when we meet with photographers, we talk about this with them, right? We say, don't just photograph the home. No, let's pay attention, because sometimes it can be the big expansive view, but other times is it the molding? Is it the beautiful architecture details? Some framing in the rooms, something that will just stand out. I think you see it even with when Architectural Digest photographs homes, they go into the details, right? They like seeing the details of the interior design of the artwork, the staircase. So we like to do the same thing. I think it's very important. I think that makes a difference with the client. If you don't show them that, it becomes a little boring.
And what are the personal experiences and lessons you have taken with you that you could share in terms of being a leader within Compass that makes you like an efficient and effective leader?
Listen, I mentioned before, it's one of the most collaborative companies, and that applies to employees at the company as well, not only our agents. It's one of the main reasons I've worked at Compass for nearly 10 years. I think is the people I work with. It's very, very strategic. We're not scared to think outside the box. We're always looking at how to improve. I think everyone at Compass shares this characteristic of, we're not going to stop here. How can we do it better? How can we actually bring more support, more services to our agents? I also love that we don't do anything without checking with our agents first. Everything we do at Compass, before it's developed, we go to our agents and say, hey, would you like this? Is this something important? And they're very vocal back. We've built a great relationship, and they will tell us, well, actually, we would need it this way, or that's something less important. This is something more important. So the fact that we look for advice, that we look for insights for our agents, I think has been a winning formula for us, right? That we don't have the ego that says we know it all. We're just going to create a lot of stuff. That we sit down with our agents and we actually listen to them and find out, what is it that would help you grow your business, build better relationships with your clients. I love that excitement, right? I love that energy of, let's never stop. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's find it. We finish something and then we say, okay, let's do it again, but let's do it again.
I think it's a great point. You had so many good, nuggets here when it comes to the whole spectrum of things that goes into actually market a property. Really great insights for other agents also globally. Thanks a lot, Felipe, for taking the time. I think this has been a really great discussion.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Again, I'm a huge fan, Eric, of JamesEdition and your whole team. So it's a pleasure working with you and pleasure seeing you.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. The same.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to the JamesEdition Podcast for bi-weekly insights on people and global market trends, and share it with your peers. We'd love to hear from you, so let us know whose perspective you'd like us to feature next. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the next episode.